So, you want to open a nightclub. Most people think the expensive part is the sound and the lights. Sometimes that's true. A club-grade sound system, built to move air through a room full of moving bodies, runs $80,000 to $250,000. Lighting adds $50,000 to $150,000 on top, but that's only the part everyone budgets for. The price of actually opening depends on where you're looking. In a state where anyone can buy a liquor license, it costs a couple of $1,000s. In a quota state, the government caps how many licenses exist. You buy one on the secondary market from someone who already holds it. That same license runs $300,000 to $400,000. In the wrong city, the single piece of paper that lets you legally sell one drink costs more than everything else combined. Then there's the build-out, and this is where the money hides. You're not decorating a room. You're pouring a floor that survives 1,000 people jumping on it, running several bars instead of one, and soundproofing the walls so the neighbors don't close you in month 2. At roughly $125 a square foot, a modest 5,000 square foot club is already north of $600,000 before a single light turns on. And in many cities, you need a separate permit just to allow people to dance, not to serve alcohol, to dance. New York enforced a law exactly like that for over 90 years and only repealed it in 2017. Add it up. A modest club needs $250,000 just to open the doors, a real one, well over 2. And in the wrong city, half of that is one signature. But if you want to make a fortune from this, you should stop thinking about the bar. A nightclub officially makes money in 2 ways. The first way is the door. $25 a head at a real hotspot, sometimes nothing at a bar with a DJ. Money made on volume. The second way is the bar itself. Drinks at $15 poured on liquor that cost a fraction of that. Sounds like the business. It isn't. Because most of an airport's profit comes from shops and parking, and most of a nightclub's profit comes from a completely different place, the tables. Imagine a room where the most expensive product isn't a drink, it's a view. Picture 2 customers on the same Saturday. The first is the dance floor. 40 people, each paying $25 to get in and buying 2 drinks at $15. That's about $2,200. Out of it comes the bartenders pouring 80 drinks, the security watching 40 bodies, and the floor space they occupy. The second customer is a table of 4, a $2,000 minimum. They order 2 bottles of premium vodka to hit it. Those bottles cost the club at wholesale $30 or $40 each. On the table, they're billed at $600 or $700 apiece, served by one person on a single couch. The table wins, and it isn't close. At high-end clubs, VIP tables and bottle service bring in up to 80% of total revenue. That's the estimate from the Nightclub and Bar Media Group, with the alcohol marked up 1,000% or more. The owner doesn't sell the experience. They lease the best seats to watch a crowd, and the crowd shows up and creates itself, for free. The people dancing aren't the customers, they're the product. There's a fourth party in this. Most clubs don't fill their own rooms. They rent the calendar to a promoter. He brings his own crowd, his own DJ, his own gravity. He fills a dead Tuesday overnight. In return, he takes the door and sometimes a cut of the bar. But he also owns the crowd. And there's a loophole in that arrangement the same way there's a loophole in an airport slot. The airline that holds the slot can sell it, lease it, or swap it, and neither the airport nor the regulator gets a cut. The promoter who holds the crowd can move it. The night he takes a better offer from a newer club 2 miles away, he does not leave the crowd behind. He takes it across the street, and neither you nor your $250,000 sound system gets it back. Buying the gear and leasing the couches is only half the equation. The other half is what it costs to keep the room open. The cost almost nobody budgets for has nothing to do with music or booze. It's liability. To an insurer, a nightclub is one of the most dangerous businesses you can run. Crowds, alcohol, and darkness. In most states, if you overserve someone and they hurt somebody on the way home, that's on you. It's called dram shop liability, and it makes club insurance some of the most expensive coverage in all of hospitality. Then, the one that surprises everyone, the music. Playing songs is not free. There are 4 separate organizations that license the right to publicly perform music, and holding one license does not cover the other 3. A club needs all 4. Skip them, and the statutory damages under federal copyright law run from $750 to $150,000. These organizations send real people into venues to sit and listen. It is not a bluff. Add the security you're legally required to staff every night. Add shrinkage, the overpour, the comped round, the bartender running a private economy of free drinks for better tips. None of it is dramatic on its own. Stacked, night after night, it eats the exact margin those bottles were supposed to deliver. And there's a rhythm underneath all of it. The good weekends aren't profit. They're the float that covers the dead ones. A single strong December can carry the year. A dead February can bury you. And when nobody shows up, the math gets worse, because a nightclub has no memory. An airport that empties out during a pandemic still owns the runway. A nightclub owns nothing that carries over. There is no recurring revenue, no memberships that bill whether people come or not, no subscription renewing quietly at 3 in the morning. Every single week, you sell 100% of your capacity starting from zero. Last Saturday's magic buys you nothing this Saturday. The textbook example is Studio 54. In April 1977, Steve Rubel and Ian Schrager opened a club inside a former television studio in Midtown Manhattan. Within weeks, it was the most famous nightclub on the planet. In its first year, it pulled in $7 million, and Rubel bragged in public that only the mafia made more money than he did. The IRS took the hint, raided the club, and found hundreds of thousands of dollars stuffed into garbage bags. Rubel and Schrager pleaded guilty to tax evasion and went to prison. The most in-demand nightclub in history ran for 33 months. The line never got shorter. That's the point. A nightclub isn't killed by falling demand. It's killed by the fact that hot has a shelf life measured in months, not decades. In the UK right now, the Nighttime Industries Association reports the country has lost more than a third of its nightclubs since 2020, roughly 3 every week. People still want to go out. The model is what buckles. At this point, the business is clear. A nightclub isn't an entertainment business. It's a real estate business that sells the best view of a crowd. On the 2 nights a week, it's allowed to open the doors. The people on the floor are just the traffic. They pay a little at the door and a little at the bar, and in doing so, they build the packed, glowing room that the tables are actually paying for. The dance floor doesn't fill the register. It fills the room so the tables have something worth buying. This may be the only business in the world that manufactures its own product for free out of the customers standing in it. Time to put it all together and answer the actual question. How much do you make if you do this right? Let's run the math on 3 realistic versions of your club. Option 1. A bar with a DJ, cheap cover or none. Money made on volume and $15 drinks. It costs a couple $100,000 to open, most of it build out and license. Revenue is thin and the margins are thinner. The net result is typically near zero, sometimes a small loss. You don't run this level for profit. You run it to hold the lease and learn the room. Option 2. The local hotspot. 25 at the door, a real crowd, a handful of tables in the corner. Fixed costs run around $50,000 a month. You're open 8 nights, Fridays and Saturdays, so every night has to clear about $6,000 just to keep the lights on. A single VIP table at a $2,000 minimum leaves you around $1,600 in margin after the liquor. 4 good tables a night covers your entire fixed cost. Everything after that is profit. A steady year here clears low to mid 6 figures. Option 3, the bottle service mega club. This is where the spread opens up, and it depends on one thing. In the optimistic year, a sharp promoter fills your Fridays and Saturdays, you average 6 strong tables a night, and a dozen headliner nights print. A superstar DJ pushes a single table's minimum from $2,000 to $15,000 for the night. That same couch, worked right, clears close to $300,000 a year on its own. The whole club nets around $300,000 in profit. In the realistic year, 2 or 3 normal things go wrong. The promoter takes his crowd across the street. A fight one Saturday spikes your insurance and triggers a licensing review. By month 9, the room isn't the room anymore, and the tables drift from 6 a night down to 2. Same building, same lights, same sound system. That club slides to a loss of around $180,000. The gap between those 2 years is nearly $500,000, and almost none of it shows up as a single visible event. From the sidewalk on a Saturday, the parking lot still looks full. At that level, you're not really buying a club. You're buying the right to stay hot, because every other business sells you a night out. A nightclub sells the best view of one, and it can only sell it tonight.